if you look at the overall situation, I mean, all these countries in the Gulf have been targeted, including Bahrain and Qatar and United Arab Emirates and even Oman. But at the same time, the response from these countries have been, so far that they maintain restraint. But Iran wants them to be involved, to attack Iran, so that the war can escalate and cover the entire region. But so far we have seen that, some kind of restraint. We have also seen probably also the fact that they have got limited military capabilities when it comes to UAE or Oman and so on and so forth. Saudi Arabia, though, has been targeted but has maintained the restraint. Though if, however, Iran makes any serious attempt to close the Strait of Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz is in a way a choke point, which basically 20% of global oil trade goes or passes through the Strait of Hormuz, both exports and imports, and 20% of LNG also passes through that area. So far, what they have done, Iranians, they have radio messages to all oil tankers in that region that don't try to cross the Strait of Hormuz, the choke point. If you did that, then they will attack. But the result is that, all oil tankers north of Strait Hormuz, they are anchored there. And those who are going on the way to collect oil from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, or Kuwait, and Abu Dhabi, they basically are stopped there. So no movement at the moment. However, if there is any serious attempt by Iran to target Strait of Hormuz or to mine it or to close it, that would basically, attract response from the United States, and I suspect response even from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is not going to accept it because for them it's all bread and butter, everything. So therefore, but so far Iran has been careful not to do it. So I think, I'm worried about the way things are going, but my own sense is that probably within the next 7 to 8 days or 9 days, things will begin to stabilize. Probably the United States and Israel are going to say, all right, we have achieved what we have set out to achieve, and they will call for peace or negotiations and so on and so forth. That's a very, if you look at the oil sector as a whole, since oil is a very important commodity for the global economy, and since India is so heavily dependent on oil from, that region, 60% of crude oil that we purchase comes from the Persian Gulf area. Therefore, Strait of Hormuz becomes very, very important for us. However, my own sense is that, price of oil may go up, crude oil may go up, maybe $80 per barrel, maybe $85 per barrel, for short term, maybe 8 days, 9 days, 6 days or 10 days and so on and so forth. But I don't think we really need to worry too much about at this stage. The two reasons for that. Number one is I think they have done the geopolitical math that how long the military operation by the United States and Israel is going to last. And my own sense is not going to be more than 10 days because they have already more or less a big part of what they have set out to achieve, they've already achieved, like the killing the top leadership, etc. So therefore, I'm not too worried about oil price at this stage. What happens tomorrow, that's different. But as I look at the horizon today, I think oil prices will definitely go up. But at the same time, after a period of time, maybe 10 days, 15 days, they will start actually going back to the normal, where they should be in terms of demand and supply fundamentals. However, that area called the Middle East or the Gulf region is very important for us because we have deep economic ties with the countries in that region. We have got roughly 90 lakh Indians working in that area. And we also have a very strategic relationship with most of these countries. But most importantly is, of course, since we buy 60% of our oil from that area and 20%, almost close to 50% of our natural gas, which is LNG, comes from Qatar mainly. In such a situation, we being anxious is natural. Markets being anxious, very understandable. Tomorrow when the markets open in Mumbai, you would see the anxiety, which is very understandable. But I think if you really go for a deep analysis of the situation as of today, I'm not too worried about it. I think, the whole idea is basically, I'm not saying that I agree with it, because I think it's important to respect the sovereign right of all countries. For any country to go to any other country and attack is against the international law. India has never ever supported these things. Having said that, whatever has happened is being done by the United States and Israel. So therefore, for us, we can either react and we can basically look at the situation. So my own sense is that if really there is a regime change in Iran, and Iran in the process, maybe 6 months down the line or 1 year down the line, they decide to join the global mainstream. Global mainstream means, business ties with other countries, maybe some kind of relationship with America or Israel and so on and so forth, which would also mean that Iran has huge reserves of oil. Iran has the second largest reserves of gas. So all that would basically start flowing into the global supply system. And that means, more oil will be available. The supply side would get strengthened. So that's not a bad news for India, since we import 89% of our total requirement of oil. But I'm not saying that I support what America is doing. Absolutely no. But at the same time, just saying, post this operation, if the scenario is that there is a regime change and the new regime in Iran is such that they decide, all right, enough is enough, we want to join the global mainstream in the world, we want to have good relations with all countries, and we want investment in oil and sector to come into Iran. Don't forget one thing, Iran is a rich country in terms of oil and gas, very rich country. And all they have to do is just open up the oil and gas sector, let the world come and invest there, modernize their oil and gas economy. Then Iran in no time will become a very rich country. And of course, since Iran is sitting very close to us, for a ship it takes just 3.5 days to go to Iran and collect oil or gas from there and bring it to India. It's so close. In fact, one of our refineries, like Mangalore refinery, is designed for Iranian oil. So I think for us it's good. And if Iran joins that, at the same time, we have been showing interest in terms of investment in Iran for a very long time. We discovered Farzad B gas field there in Iran. We did that. Our company, ONGC Videsh. It's a different matter. They refused to give it to us. They gave it to Chinese.